Welcome to Sit, Stay, Read, the podcast for every wag, whinny, and whisker. I'm Kathleen Donnelly, award-winning author and retired canine handler. Each week, I chat with novelists about the bond we share with our furry friends and how they inspire stories. Grab a coffee, get cozy with your favorite pet. It's time to sit, stay, read. Well, today I'm welcoming Elle Hartford to the show. Elle wrote a delightful and enchanting cozy fantasy book called How to Treat Talking Beasts, which my black lab Boomer, if you hear noises, he's trying to also talk. He's trying to be one of those talking beasts. It's the
There we go.
second book in the Marine Magic series. So Elle, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I was excited to have you on. This was such a fun book, and it's fun because you have some real animals, you have mythical animals, and of course, Sit, Stay, Read. We're all about books with animals. And you have a talking otter named Joy, who I love, Sunlit, your
Yeah.
wonderful protagonist. Um, Tell us more. Give us an intro to how to treat talking beasts.
Okay, yeah. So, like you said, it's the second book in the Marine Magic series. So we meet Sunlit, who is a marine biologist, but in a fantasy world. So we have the added fun of mythical creatures and a little bit of magic running around. But so Sunlit has opened up sort of a rescue shelter for marine animals in this little beachside town, and is just kind of finding her feet when the local zoo contacts her and is like, "Okay, we've got these porpoises that have been affected by a wayward spell, and we need you to take care of them." And Sunlit is, in addition to being very passionate about wildlife, she is just an incorrigible people pleaser. So she immediately takes them on. But then from there, her little rescue shelter then has a lot more eyes on it and a lot of public attention, both good and bad. And so she has to kind of navigate who is friend, who is foe. And of course, because it's cozy, most people are friends, especially by the end.
Definitely. I love that. And cozy fantasy. I mean, that's so much fun. Where did this idea come from? Because you sort of have some real animals, the porpoises, and even though
Hmm.
most otters don't speak, Joy being an otter. Where
Yeah.
did that idea come from to have this mixture of
Mm.
real and mythical animals?
So, okay. Um, and it I'm going to answer in two parts.
Okay, go for
Um,
it.
the so the idea of um sort of like marine sanctuary, this rescue shelter on the beach, came from sort of my childhood. So when I was a kid, I was really into marine biology. My parents had been marine biologists,
Oh, cool.
and my very first, like job, I think I was technically a volunteer, but I had hours and would go, in middle school, would go down to the beach and I would work at the ranger station running their touch tank and talking to like people who
So
came
cool.
in off the beach and here's a starfish, here's a sea urchin, whatever we had that day. So that was already kind of in my mind. And then, so the other part is mixing it with my writing. And at this point, I say this often, I just, it's so hard for me to write anything without magic in it. Because when I start say, it's just like, why not? You're
Yeah.
creating a world. Like, it's so fun to throw these things in and be creative.
It is, and it made for such a fun read. It was so entertaining, and I think all ages would enjoy it. And we were talking a little bit before we started recording that this could be a young adult, this could be something any
Mm-hmm.
age can enjoy, which is really fun.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna guess then, just from what you just told me with your volunteer work, at the beginning of each chapter, one thing I really enjoyed is these little notes on how to care for the creatures. And as a horse person and dog person, and just knowing a little bit about animal care, I was like, she has some experience. There's actually some really good advice. But then it's fun because that good advice is for mythical animals.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was going to ask if you cared for marine wildlife, and obviously you did. What were some of
Yeah.
your favorite experiences or animals that you were able to care for when you lived
Oh my goodness.
up there?
Oh, okay. And so this was just north of Seattle on the coast of Puget Sound.
Okay.
So it's cold beach. Unlike Sunlit, Sunlit gets a warm beach. But oh my goodness. I was obsessed with whales, especially orca whales when I
Okay.
was a kid. And of course, we didn't get anything that big at the ranger station. It was mostly the occasional sea star,
Okay.
clams.
Okay.
We would get hermit crabs sometimes.
Oh yeah.
But then, like moving on, I moved away for college and my eventual career. So a lot of the animals that I ended up caring for later were more terrestrial. Like I worked at Best Friends Animal Sanctuary for a while, and
Okay.
I have next to my desk right now a tortoise, a very
I
small
love
one.
it.
Yeah. He has to, he has been with me now 10 years, maybe just over 10
Wow.
years actually. So he has to be my favorite. He gets
Oh
the
yeah,
favorite
he gets
spot.
the. I
Yeah.
don't blame you. And yeah, I had to laugh at your bio because you said you live with a grumpy tortoise, not just a
Mm.
tortoise. And I thought, well, how does a
Yeah.
tortoise show they're grumpy? That's
I know, and I know people say that like, they're reptiles, you can't really tell what they're thinking, but I swear, because he'll watch me when I'm talking and he'll like knock stuff over and go through stuff,
does he?
and he has an attitude, I swear.
How big is he? Is he
He is like palm size, like I'll hold it like,
okay? Would he like to
he
make
can
a
sit in my
camera
hand.
appearance or would
Oh,
he?
yeah, okay, okay.
Okay. Okay, so if anyone's listening to this, you need to go over to YouTube so you can meet. And what's his name again?
His name is William, and I know my light just went so funny because I like leaned away and
That's it.
confused it.
Hi,
But that is William. He
William.
is feeling very active right now
Oh,
because it's so hot out. So he's like,
oh,
let
I
me
love
down, let
it.
me go away.
Yeah. So, William, you are the
But there
grumpy
he
tortoise. I
is.
think I can see what you're
Yeah.
saying. I think I see the. He's
He's
like,
like, nah.
he said, no one told me
Yeah.
I was going to be on camera today.
Yeah, exactly. What is this nonsense? There we
I
go.
love it.
Just set him
And you
back
also
down.
have
Okay.
a cat too, right? Did I read that you have a cat?
Yes, I
Okay.
do. Okay. And it's so funny because I had grown up with dogs at home. I mean, we
Okay.
had cats too, but I was always very much a dog person.
Yeah.
Um, but as an adult, so far I've lived in fairly small spaces, apartments, like studios. So I really wanted to get a dog, but
Yeah.
we never had the space.
Yeah.
So I was volunteering at the local animal shelter. And I was like, I'll work in the cat room. That's fine. I'm not going to take a cat home. And I think it took, like maybe 2 months. And then there was a cat at home.
Yep. Oh
Um,
yeah.
but he has been a big inspiration. His name is Frankie. And when
Aw.
I met him at the shelter, he was recovering from having his hind leg removed. So he's our little
Oh.
three-legged cat.
Okay.
You would never know it these days, aside from he can't jump very high, which is kind of
Okay.
nice.
I was gonna say, I understand we have a little feral cat who's moved in who I've kind of adopted
Aw.
and I think, oh, I would like her to move in. And I watch her climb the tree and I'm like, maybe I don't want her to move
You're right.
in.
Yeah, I know. You know, we're pretty lucky in that regard because both my husband and I tend to accumulate books. So he could get into a lot of trouble if he was
Yeah.
inclined to like climb bookcases, but
Yeah, I'm right there with you. You just have to look behind
yeah.
me and that case goes. So I understand.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I really loved about how to talk, or how, sorry, I keep mispronouncing it, how to
No
treat
worries.
talking beasts is Sunlit
Hmm.
works to overcome this really big fear of hers. And I
Hmm.
like that
Hmm.
because it's a good message about speaking up. And so what inspired that storyline about, is it
Oh,
overcoming fear? Is it about speaking your beliefs, or what was it for you writing it?
I love that. Yeah. So Sunlit, um, is she's she's not me. Like I write a lot of different characters at this point in my different series, and none of them is exactly me, but she has this big piece of me, which is that especially when I was younger, I had a lot of like social anxiety. And we see her deal with that in the first book, but then it really comes to a head in the second book when, yeah, she's kind of called upon to make a public speech in defense of her
Yeah.
sanctuary. And she spends a lot of time being like, oh my gosh, I will do anything but this. um, but eventually she is able to kind of like tap into that passion and I think it, for me, like that mirrors a personal journey that I had. Um, my career before I was writing books was in the museum field, and so I worked,
Fascinating.
it was being a tour guide, running activities, giving presentations. Something that like me in middle school, high school just could not have fathomed.
Yeah.
But I found early on that when you can, you're looking at this fear, of speaking up or dealing with unknown people, and you thinking about it from this place of like everything that can go wrong. And if you switch it to the subject you're talking about and like how passionate you are about it and how much it means to you, then everything just goes so much more smoothly and it's so easy, so much easier. So that, like from the beginning, that has been a really important part of Sunlit's journey, from my perspective.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of us have a fear of public speaking. I know growing up I
Mm,
did. And so I think that that is such a great universal and such a great thing for younger women or girls reading it,
mm,
teenage girls,
hmm.
that you can speak up, you can do this. So I
Yeah,
love that. That
yeah,
is so
yeah. Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah.
And
I Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna continue rambling. Like,
Ramble away, go for it.
um, but 100%, I agree, and I think especially too because sometimes in books or in movies or in media, it'll be like, okay, we have the dramatic moment and we speak up, and it's like really tense, and
Yeah.
but it's fun to do it in a cozy setting where there is a little bit of tension and anxiety, but there's also like her friends are all there and like super supportive. So that was another
Yeah.
kind of side of it too that was helpful for me to write.
Yeah. Well, and again, her friends are not other humans, so that made it
Mm,
really fun too. I mean, there are some,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
you have we have what, a griffin. We have what else am I
yeah.
forgetting? Go ahead and tell us. I'm gonna forget them. So you tell us what all.
No worries. No worries. Yeah, so associated with the zoo, because the zoo is run entirely by magical animals, which was great fun to come up with. But the griffin and there's a talking cat
That's
that
right.
are
Yep.
associated with the zoo. And then of course there's Joy, the otter. She shows up in book one and she's just a delight to write because she has a unique perspective and can kind of needle sunlit when sunlit needs it. Um, let's see. Okay. In terms of other friends, especially friends who like come around at the end, there's a lot of just different people who live in Seaside, right? There's merfolk, um, there's the occasional witch.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, and I felt like the book stood great on its own as book two, but
Cool.
it would be fun to go back and read book one because I would imagine we get to meet most of these characters in book one, or is that a whole different
Yes.
crew? Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
nice,
Yeah, most of them
awesome.
are in book one as well. But yeah, but I'm glad. It is a distinct sort of adventure, so I'm glad that it stands
Yeah.
alone to. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Now, is there going to be a book three? Because it seems like there's more adventures to be had.
Yes, there is going to be
Nice.
book three, at least. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we'll
Okay.
see how things go from there.
Okay. Because you're actually you write several different series. Is that right? You write,
Yeah,
okay.
I started out publishing a like a again cozy mystery but mixed with cozy fantasy because it's actually set in the same world as
Okay.
Sunlet's, seaside. Um so I started off with that mystery series, and things have kind of expanded from there.
Nice.
So, the Marine Magic and Seaside, the town where Sunlit lives, they were in book three, I think, of the mystery series. And then I was like,
Okay.
okay, well, I want to go back there. So
That's
then
awesome.
Marine Magic was born. And there's also another spin-off series that is more like romance and features a
Okay.
matchmaking witch. So, yeah.
Oh, I
We've
love
we've
that. Oh,
thank
fun.
you. But yeah, so we have mystery, we have romance, and we have just fantasy.
Okay. Do they all have some sort of animal element, or is
They
this more
do.
okay.
Yeah, so in the Alchemical Tales is the mystery series.
Okay.
And the main character so for folks who have read Cozy Mystery, right, you'll be familiar. There's the main character is usually an amateur sleuth, and they usually
Hmm.
have an animal sidekick. So in the case of the Alchemical Tales, the sidekick is named William after my
Aw.
tortoise. But he is like a big Newfoundland, big black fluffy dog,
Oh, cool.
who can do a little bit of magic and talk.
I
Because why not?
okay. I'm gonna have to look into those because I love Newfies. They're so fun, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, it would be fun to see
Yeah.
them out working too. And you do feel like they could talk,
Ooh,
you know?
you right?
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I had my childhood dog was like a golden retriever, but not the sleek kind. She was like a mountain sub-breed or something. She was very
Okay.
fluffy.
Okay.
And I feel like that I don't know, these kind of bigger, furrier dogs, they have such expressions. I don't
They really do. They
know.
really do. Well, and if you get to know your animals, you know what they're
Yeah.
thinking. They
Yeah,
talk to us.
absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that. Well, tell us a little bit because you're a fellow podcaster with Authors on the
Hmm.
Air. And so I thought it
Yeah,
would be fun just to find out more about your podcast and what listeners can find over on your podcast. So tell us a little more about that.
cool. Thanks. Yeah. So I host Cozy Alchemy. Surprise, surprise.
Not a
Um,
shocker.
but I know, right? But it is kind of focusing on cozy mystery books and also cozy fantasy books because I really enjoy kind of
Cool.
straddling that divide. And cozy mystery as a genre has been around for a while, and
Yes.
especially in the mystery world, people are pretty familiar with it.
Yep.
Cozy fantasy is kind of new just in the past couple years, but has a lot of
Okay.
the same, like small town, quirky characters,
Okay.
friendships, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of overlap, and I really enjoy, being able to go from one to the other, and talk about like what's up with this whole notion of cozy? And like, why
Yeah.
do we love it? What are we getting from it? That sort of thing.
I love that. Yeah, cozy fantasy was new to me. I mean, I write romantic
Mm-hmm.
suspense and mystery and suspense and all that. So I knew cozy mystery, but I was like, cozy
Yeah.
fantasy. And when I received your book, I thought, okay, this is going to be fun to read. I've never read a cozy. And you've
And
introduced me to the genre. It's fantastic.
cool. I'm glad. Yeah. No, yeah. Explore because there's a lot of them are really cool. And there's a lot of like, it's similar to cozy mystery. You'll find a lot of cozy fantasy that's like, you know, something happens at the magical tea shop, or there's a magical bakery, or it's a like there's a lot of very familiar, very fun settings.
I love it. Well, I'm going to explore and listen to your show and find out which books to look into
Cool.
next. So
Thanks.
I would love to go back to talking a little more about your museum past, like
Oh,
what all that
mm-hmm,
entailed. It said you're a historian and museum
mm-hmm.
educator, which is very
Right.
fascinating to me. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. So when I was a kid, obviously I was really into marine science, but kind of alongside that, I was really into archaeology.
Cool.
And I don't know, when it came time to go to college, I just kind of had to choose. And I don't know if I like flipped a coin or what, but because they were both like
It's a good way to do
up there, like competing. Yeah.
it.
But so I went to college for history, and
Okay.
got my master's in experimental archaeology, which is
Cool.
looking at like how people made things and trying to recreate things. Like if you've ever seen a
Wow.
show, on the History Channel or whatever, that's like, how did they build the pyramids? Like that's
Yeah.
kind of like the far popular end of experimental archaeology, right? They're not
Okay.
necessarily academic, but that's kind of the idea. Um, and I chose that because by that point I had realized, I really liked um the volunteer work and then the work that I was doing in museums.
Okay.
Um, because for me, it was a chance to help people connect with something. And in a museum, usually it's the past, right? People want to like see like what was it like? How did people live? So we're kind of exercising empathy to connect with people, in whichever time period before us. And
Cool.
I did that for a while, working. I ran a historic grist mill. It was pretty neat.
Wow. Oh, that's so cool.
But yeah, like the pandemic was pretty hard on historic sites, and so that
Yes.
was kind of my impetus for switching. But I've reflected on it a lot just lately, actually. And it's so funny because for me, writing is a lot about the same thing. Like I really want to help
Yeah.
people, connect with other things out like outside maybe
Yeah.
what they would normally encounter. Um, yeah.
Oh, I
That is
love
my
that.
long answer.
No, I love it. It's so interesting to me because I I've gone to museums. I love museums. We have a great
Hmm.
museum here in Denver that has some fantastic exhibits and but I was like, wow, I never thought about actually working in a museum. That's so cool. And what kind of background do
Yeah.
you need? So that's so fascinating. I
Yeah,
love
it's
it.
a neat field, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be a lot of fun. I'm sure it just gives you a piece of the past to connect to and it's so
Yeah,
neat.
absolutely. Yeah, it's like I said, it's a great sort of exercise in empathy in storytelling, right? When you're trying to
Yeah,
put together an exhibit. And also it left me with a fondness for research,
cool.
which is kind of a perhaps a drawback. We have to move house soon, so it is a
Oh,
drawback right
okay.
now because what happens is in my writing life, I have accumulated so much reference material on like different myths and magic animals and all this stuff.
Oh, I understand that. We had boxes and boxes of books to when we moved a
Yeah.
few years ago. So I feel you. So you got to take it all with you, though. You can't,
I
you
know.
can't part
Yeah.
with it.
It's all inspiration. Yeah, it's all gonna
It
come up
is.
in a future book somehow.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you have to keep it. So speaking of the future books and your current books, where can readers find your books?
Cool. Yeah. So, uh, anywhere, anywhere
Okay.
you buy books, right? Amazon bookshop.org is really good. They can help support local bookstores, Barnes and Noble, Kobo.
Okay.
But my website is lhartford.com, and that
Okay.
has, kind of like the rundown of all the books and everything else I'm doing.
Awesome. Fantastic. And do you have a newsletter or are you on social
I
media? How
do.
else can they connect with you?
Yeah, that's thank you for asking that because I was
Yeah.
totally gonna forget. I do have a newsletter and I love it. I send it out twice a month.
Nice.
And you can sign up for that on my website. I'm on social media, but honestly not like I'm there. I'm not super
Yeah.
active. I do a lot more with the
Awesome.
newsletter for sure. Mhm.
Fantastic. Well, that is fun. Well, Elle, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I enjoyed
Yeah.
learning more about the inspiration behind your books and the fun, mythical, magical animals and meeting William. Love to meet
Yeah,
William.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
tell
that
him
was a
thank
good
you.
bonus. I
That
think that's
was.
maybe his first camera appearance.
All
Well, he might
right.
have been on Instagram a while ago. But anyway, yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
Well, and everyone, the book is How to Treat Talking Beasts and get it for everyone in your life, but the young adults especially.
Woohoo.
There it is.
Woo,
There it
there
is.
we go.
Awesome. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and there's Joy on the bottom. I love that. Or is that Joy
Yeah.
on the bottom? Sorry. I just realized that might not
She's,
be
I
her.
know, well, and I moved it really fast. She is on the side. Whoop,
Oh,
I'm
there she
tilting it
is.
the
There
wrong
she
way.
is.
There we
Okay.
go. And then we have, yeah, the little seal on the
Awesome.
side. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for coming on. And everyone, until
Hmm.
next time, keep your tails wagging and pages turning. Thanks for joining me today. Sit, Stay, Read is a part of the Authors on the Air Global Network. If you enjoyed today's author interview, be sure to leave a review and share the episode with a fellow animal-loving reader. If you're curious about the world of working dogs and wilderness adventures, please check out my books at KathleenDonnelly.com. Until next time, curl up with your best furry friend and sit, stay, read.